and the camera. So,
Hi, everybody over there. Hope you're with us, and that sorry for the
well, actually,
technical.
this is all recorded. It's not live
Oh,
anymore because
oh,
that wouldn't
okay.
even turn on. So I don't know
Oh
what's
dear.
going on with
Well,
that.
we'll find out.
But
Oh,
good,
good,
good. But
good.
not this part. So Liam, anyway, I did get sort of a meditation,
Yep.
and I saw a unicorn.
Did you? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
But there was no. It started with. I didn't get into like the tree roots or like where we had in the past when we were more into the earthy and astral realms. We're getting pretty up high here now, and it was much more. I don't know, esoteric, I guess. I was thinking about this idea of the Father God and how this relates to what we were talking about in reading before we started about the beginnings of, the bestowing of civilization upon humanity sort of thing is what this deity is about in a historical sense, Jupiter, Osiris, etc., Zeus. And I really got this sense of like other like the Atlantean times and Lemurian times, and that, in a big perspective, like according to esoteric tradition, there's been some form of like humanity around for, like 50, 100,000 years. I mean, that modern, of course, modern history and stuff, or academic history, doesn't acquiesce to the existence of Atlantis or Lemuria or any of these earlier civilizations. But I have read more modern historical scholars even just beginning to accept the idea that the Sphinx may be, not 3,000, 6,000 years old, but 12,000 years old, or 30,000 years old. And that the water erosion around the Sphinx, it makes it seem like it's over 10,000 years old. So we're talking about civilizations and that we don't, that modern academics really don't know about.
Yeah.
And I I thought it was interesting, even I guess recently they found up along the BC coast settlements going back to 14,000 years ago, even during the Ice Age, that there was land, there was available, a lot. There. Oh, for that mic? Yeah, yeah.
Come a little closer
Come a
then.
little closer. Okay.
There we go.
There we are. So, it's just this. I was getting like sort of imagery about this stuff, and then it was back. I was in this field in front of the tree, and there was this. Well, I don't know. I hope it's like a literal metaphor, because it was like a chest of treasure.
All right.
All right.
That'd be good.
And like full of gold and jewels and stuff, but somehow it's, well, what's the treasure behind? I kind of started thinking, well, gosh, this is a metaphor for truth or knowledge or something. No, no, grass. Started to put some of it, like a big. Let me take some of this with me.
Oh my goodness. Uh-huh.
And there was this a unicorn, and um, it's just tied in with some other meditations from, like, it just reminded me years and years ago. I guess it would have been in the late 70s, and I was in Salmon Arm, and this woman that I lost touch with afterward, but had this little meditation class, and it was like only like four of us showed up, and it was in sort of, I'm trying to remember, it wasn't in her home, it was like in a little office or something after hours, and maybe it was like a little healing place or a therapy place. I don't know. But anyway, the gist of it is, it was the first time she took us all through this visualization meditation, and I had this tremendous, like, vivid movie in my head of meeting this guide and being in this castle and meeting this unicorn and all this stuff going on. And anyway, so the same unicorn showed up again.
Right on.
To tie this together. Anyway, and this thing about, I mean, it seems scattered now. It was more of a flow in the meditation, but I'm just remembering bits and pieces. I remember I saw these things about giants. You know, like we hear about these myths about giants, and I don't know how much of it's real, but on like the interwebs they show these, like, look at, they found these giant bones, and I'm sure most of that's like fabricated, but nonetheless they have found, you know, there's these talk about the 7 foot tall people that were, they found mummies in North America that have been stolen and hidden away by the Smithsonian. There's this idea of giants, that's maybe some of these deities of old were like these giants.
Like the Anunnaki.
Like the Anunnaki. Or they're just these, and I got this idea of Zeus being like the Grecian pantheon, being these like beings that are like 20, 30 feet tall or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And there was really this sense,
or pre them.
Titans were before them, or even bigger. And I also had this idea though of aliens too. I mean, I've had an experience. I've talked to people with experiences about this encouraging of civilization that has to do with this fear that there's some sort of
you were all over the place.
I was all over the place, but that these other, when you want to call them angels or beings that are involved in our, and of course I experienced that as well with connecting to the Brotherhood of the Diamond Light and Ascended Masters. So certainly kind of this is, all that stuff is in this sphere about these other intelligences or energies and beings trying to guide us towards some sort of progress.
When you have a lot that comes.
Hey?
Yes, those are the best meditations though, when so much comes to you.
I know, I'll have to figure it out later.
Yeah, it's fun though. It's like, at least you got something. I mean, it's hard when you go in and then nothing comes to you. It's like, really?
That's right.
How was your experience? Anyone else?
Well, the other guys.
I'm gonna watch the feed tonight.
Yeah.
Do the meditation tonight.
Yeah, I'll get that loaded up.
I was out in the horse paddock.
Mm-hmm. Liam?
Want to volunteer anything, Liam?
I couldn't get into the trance state, you know, all the stuff that's going on in the world, and, you know,
Yeah.
the worst place right now in the world is New Orleans or Louisiana, and my oldest daughter lives in New Orleans. You know, she works in a cafe, and she continued working for a while, you know.
Yikes. Yeah.
Still, I worry, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many of my closest friends live in the States, and, you know, there's the whole coronavirus thing, and then there's Trump.
Just to make it worse.
And there's a lot of, oh man, it's just, you know, and it's like dwelling on thinking of it. It's really awful. This is probably one of the most important things that's going to happen in my life, you know.
In all of our lifetimes.
Kennedy assassination, you know, when the first time I got raped. And I because I'm afraid or because I'm down. So I listened to Governor Cuomo of New York.
Yeah.
Because he's really good and calm and only deals with facts. Our own government in Canada is actually about 1/10 of the population of the U.S., right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So since our first cases were about the same time, they should have 10 times as many cases as us, right? But
Yeah.
we've got 3,000 Canada-wide.
Yeah.
And that should be 3,000 in the US, but they're up at 130,000.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I think partly too, the guy that came out with Barrier, he's in the horse's feet, and both his parents, one is an ER doctor in the States and one's a GP, and they were saying that everybody that gets tested in the States has to pay $1,200.
So many people aren't doing it. People aren't doing it then.
So if they don't have the money, like they wouldn't pay it.
No.
I haven't heard that. And there were new tests coming out. And it's not whether they can pay for it or not. It's whether they're vectors for the disease, you know.
Yeah.
If they have symptoms and they're not serious symptoms and they're not tested.
Yes.
Well, that's, I guess, why this.
They're only testing them mostly in the U.S. now when they go into the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
They have mild symptoms, they stay home and
test. And so
they
if
don't
they have a cough, we're in quarantine.
Yeah. That's
Well, they don't. That's the whole thing is testing. They say these numbers, and they won't even test you in Canada either. I mean, this friend of mine was really concerned. She thought she and her son might have had it. They wouldn't test her. They, oh well, no, you're not in hospital. Oh, you haven't been out of the country. Oh, we're not going to test you.
So are they really
We're running so many tests, but you know, every day there's more tests and more people test, well, even in the States. So the picture we have of it's going to get better, but the actual, because of the lag time, it's going to continue to get bad almost exponentially for the next few weeks.
Oh yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Worse in the States than here.
Well, have you contacted both our landlords about, seeing about the subsidy? And our house one said, yes, they would deduct the amount that the government will credit for, so the $500. But his work one, so he rents for tattooing,
Yeah.
they said no. They would reduce the rent that it's due. But apparently they own a taxi business and they've had to shut the whole taxi business down. And so she's like, they're hurting for money too. And I'm like,
well, then
Not
you
as bad as
can.
us.
There's small business.
There's going to be more
as well.
assistance in mid-April. There'll be more assistance.
Business funds available that I think even if you're self-employed, you're eligible for unemployment.
Yeah, he did that. Like he did that for the self-employed. Or for businesses that had to be shut down. They're offering a $50,000 loan, and they're gonna write off 10,000 of it. But you still gotta pay back 40,000. So it's like, hey, more debt.
Yeah, really.
You know.
Before we get, you guys,
People are going to be jonesing to get out and get tattoos.
I would just like to get Dallas's one.
He has a lot of people because it's the young, and they're like.
I survived Corona in 2020.
Here, Dallas has to talk about her
I've
meditation.
forgotten most of it now. Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll finish. I'm going to turn this off then.
Yeah. Can I interject here? Because this is a really good place to say that this is what Chesed is about. This is what the archangels are about. This is what the Shaz Malim are about. These are the angels that are especially helpful to those suffering from instability of any kind, spiritual, mental, or emotional. And I think at this time, that's what we're all experiencing. And personally, my feelings are the more that it's dwelled upon, the more it is brought into our reality. So
Did you say him?
Chesed, the Jupiter.
That's it.
Yeah.
Man, I can't wait to go through my big cargo container and find all my books and all my spells because I have a book on all the archangels and what they do, and it's like, oh, I have it.
Yeah. Yeah. But in my meditation, it was I went in pretty deep as I usually do, but this time it was a little different. I didn't just start at the tree. I started at my spot, which is basically like a stone room, and it's a stone chair that I go to, and I take on the essence of the being that's in the stone chair, and from there went out to the tree, and everything was in shades of blue with an azure sky, and there were very bright lights in this sky around the tree. And even the grass it reminded me of like Kentucky bluegrass, that very like lightly blue colored grass. The lights that were by the tree came together and started to surround the tree, and they were the Chasmolim. And the archangel approached, but he didn't speak. I just felt that I followed his direction mentally, although he didn't actually speak. And there was a door in the roots of the tree that was blue with the picture of the symbol for Jupiter in gold on it. And I entered the room, and it was a different room. The symbols for the sphere were in there. There was the pyramid was in there, the scepter was in there, the crook was in there, the ball with the cross on top was in there. But I just knew that there were tools in there that were going to help me through this time, help me to build something for myself. So I ended up, as I picked up the symbols that I was drawn to, I put them to my chest, and they would absorb in through where my heart chakra would be. So it would absorb through. So it was just 2 symbols that I chose amongst all the other symbols, and they will help me to build and also rein in parts of myself that I tend to give too much of. It was a profound feeling of love and of safety and security. And once I had chosen my items, I left the room and just looked like sort of eye to eye with this being, with the archangel, and he just rose, his wings unfurled, and he just rose up through the center of the Chasmolim, of the bright ones that were surrounding us, and then they all just rose up into this beautiful azure blue sky. And that was the end of my meditation. So it was
That sounds beautiful.
Wow.
yeah. So
Nice.
it was.
How do you feel? Like, how do you feel coming out of that? Do you feel kind of like, vibrating a bit, or do you sometimes come out of these experiences feeling very sort of like energized or vibrating?
Oh, last week it was complete energy. Like it was just like I was vibrating on that energy for days. I was really high on it. This time it's more. Yeah, this time it was more a feeling. Now this time it's more a feeling of peace and of knowing direction, of knowing what I need to do, the message that was given to me, so I know what it is what my next steps will be, how to find my next steps. So more of a feeling of security, and like I said, just love. So yeah, but it's definitely it's a not of this world feeling when I go those places. So yeah. So that's what my meditation was about. So I think we just really need to. Yeah.
Well, it was great. Coming back to what David was talking about, I know someone who described an experience where he was among giants.
Oh, cool.
And it was terrifying. He described this experience where he was in this he was like crouching down hiding behind something, although the entity knew he was there.
Oh yeah.
and he felt just completely like a mouse compared to the size of these entities that were there.
Yeah.
And he just felt they could just completely destroy him at will if they wanted to, but they were tolerating his presence.
And this person was relating an experience they had in the physical world, or in a different type of more spiritual experience.
He was in trance state, and maybe kind of like on the astral.
Right.
Like the astral.
Okay.
They were Egyptian. He was working with Egyptian entities.
Oh, okay.
So, as we know from the hieroglyphics and the symbols in the temples in Egypt, and you were talking about that, we were talking about the Sphinx, etc.
Yeah.
Being more like 10,000, 12,000 years old. It reminded me of that. And you were talking about the giants, and so he has for some time been working with more ancient experiences of more, ancient Egypt, basically.
Yeah.
Isis, and Horus, etc. And so he was in the realm, in the presence of something like that, and they were massively giant.
Yes.
Right.
Say massively giant. I'm curious because there's been some actual archaeological finds recently that show potentially very large humans, but not 12 feet tall, 15 feet tall, maybe 8, 9 feet tall. They found cairns and stuff in various places. So those are pretty big. Goliath was supposedly that big.
Right.
But and also some of the alien races that are allegedly to have visited us are quite large.
I didn't actually ask the question, but I think he would say that they were sort of like 20 or 30 feet tall.
Yeah. Okay.
That's I've seen that in meditations before too. I've never had an experience of fear because when I experienced Brigitte, she was like the attack of the 50-foot warrior woman. When I experienced
Who was that? I can't hear you.
Breed.
Yeah.
The Celtic English warrior goddess.
Yeah.
And I've experienced her as like this 30-foot tall being. When we were down at the Spiritualist Church in Victoria,
yeah,
I had a vision of Anubis as like this 30-foot tall being, Anubis as 30 feet tall.
It's the dog.
Yeah, the jackal-headed.
Dog-headed deity. Yeah.
But yeah, that's something I would agree with entirely, and I have been really involved in the Egyptian pantheon as well, and that's no, they're still benefic beings. I mean, they're there for you. I mean, you don't have to, just because Anubis might be 30 feet tall doesn't mean he's going to squish you. He's there for you.
There was nothing that happened that was threatening. It was just that his experience of it was such that he intimated to me that he just felt so diminutive. It was scary.
Mm-hmm.
He was in awe of them.
So magnificent and
right.
Yeah.
strong.
So he was in awe of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah.
And so this is a working that he's been doing for some time, and it may actually have been Anubis, because I know he has statues of Horus and Anubis, and maybe like 20-inch tall statues, and as part of the altar.
Yeah.
Some pretty big ones in Egypt.
Yeah, bigger than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful ones.